On paper, Finnebrogue Woods is a fairly standard 230-acre farm. We keep some cattle for beef, run a few tractors, and have a small firewood enterprise. But in reality, it's a stunningly beautiful 17th century domain with a large lake, rolling drumlins, and an aging woodland looking over the Mournes. I'm going to take you on a short journey explaining how, through diversification, we have created a series of experience and hospitality-based businesses. I'm going to demonstrate how we've returned the farm to some sort of profitability through fairly unconventional means. Think sliding doors moments, chance meetings, decisions based on gut instinct rather than any great plan or strategy. But first, a quick history. Dating back to the 1600s, Finnebrogue was a sprawling 8,000-acre estate. It boasted a large house and in its heyday employed some 75 full-time members of staff. A much reduced version of this came into my family's ownership, without the big house and definitely without any staff. Although Dad put his heart and soul into farming it in the 70s and 80s, he'd be the first to admit it was a tough old slog. Aesthetic beauty of a place does not necessarily translate to pound notes and profitability. He was lucky, though. His brother was running an expanding car retail business, and he parked his farming career to go and seek more prosperous employment. I left school in the early 90s with an extremely modest academic record, and via a year farming in Australia, I went to agricultural college and somehow scraped, I don't know how, out with an honours degree in international agribusiness management. But like Dad, I parked the farming career and I went to sell cars, first in Scotland and then back home to Northern Ireland to the family firm. I really enjoyed my time in the car business. I learnt loads: basic business finance, negotiating skills, and most importantly of all, customer care. But after nearly 15 years, I was looking for a new challenge. And at around the same time, my wife Rachel started her business. Blue Moon Event Design specialized in decorating marquees and hotels for weddings and events. And we discussed the possibility of a venue in Finnebrogue for weddings. That's what we did. Anyway, while we were researching marquees and structures that we may be able to put up in one of the fields, we came across these stunningly beautiful teepees. Within a couple of weeks, I met the Swedish owners, and while discussing a potential purchase, they actually offered for me to become one of their rental partners. I liked them, I loved their business model, I thought the teepees were stunning. So within 6 months, handed the company car back, the mobile phone, shredded the suits, and went to start my teepee rental business. Most people thought I was mad, especially my uncle. I don't think he ever quite forgave me. But I felt completely liberated, and Magna Carta was born. While I went off around the country setting up teepees for weddings and events, Dad retired from the business, and keen to introduce cattle back onto the land, he came across an ancient Irish breed known as Dexter. Now, these little guys here are extremely feisty. They're about half the size of a normal cow, but they produce the most beautiful, flavoursome meat. Dad soon had 5 heifers and a bull running through the fields. And over the next couple of years, once he'd grown the herd to about 100, he thought, right, my time's done. Ed, you're on. And in his usual humble, generous way, Dad signed the farm over to me in December 2014. Nothing much changed in the short term. Rachel and I ploughed on with our businesses, trying to raise a young family. Meanwhile, Dad was happy as Larry, farming away. But I soon realized that owning 230 acres wasn't cheap, and a small beef enterprise selling some firewood, it just wasn't paying the bills. So anyway, we reignited the whole wedding venue idea. We were very lucky. We had a gorgeous spot, lovely clearing overlooking the lake, surrounded by ancient oak, perfect for 4 Scandinavian teepees. And we were good to go. August 2016, we welcomed our first guest to Finnebrogue. Didn't get off to the best start. In those days, we didn't have so much of an entrance into the place with a hole in the hedge. And the bus driver, all the wedding guests on board, he gets his bus stuck in said hole in the hedge. Traffic jam ensued. Imagine me standing in the main road, trying to direct traffic, horns blaring, cross drivers. I was like, Ed, what have you done? What have you got yourself into? Anyway, we got everybody in. The rest of the day went past without incident. They had a great time. We were up and running. We had a wedding venue. Potential couples seemed to connect with the whole teepee in the woods vibe, and our brand and reputation slowly grew. We made a few improvements year on year, and things were okay. The figures were starting to add up. But around the same time, my sister Laura returned from London. She came to help me run the teepee business. Now, Laura's 8 years younger than me, but we've got a special bond, almost twin-like, and I loved having her around. But she was ambitious, and she had a love of good food, which got us thinking about the next stage of Finnebrogue Woods. Dad had produced all this beef, and we were very keen to market it in such a way, rather than giving it to the local butcher for a reduced price. And we also were very keen to reduce our food miles. So we opened the shed doors once a month to friends, family, and neighbors. A pretty amateur affair, but the crack was always good, and we sold a few steaks. But it was a throwaway comment. One of our regulars said, it'd be brilliant if we could get a cup of coffee around here. So Laura got thinking, one thing led to another, and on the 1st of September 2018, she walked out of my office, thanks Ed, across the yard, and into her converted shipping container. Our farm shop and cafe fodder was born. First few weeks, sold a few steaks, poured a few coffees, but it was quiet, and we were going, do we like what we've done here? Then there was a turning point. But 4 months after opening, New Year's Day, the car park was jammed. We looked out, the queue for food was as far as we could see, and somehow we managed to serve 250 of our Dexter burgers. We were exhausted, exhilarated, but thought we were onto something. Soon after, we resurrected a few old trails through the woods that looked out over the lake. We introduced a lunch menu, and we erected a teepee for our customers to dine in. And without even really thinking about it, we'd created a pretty strong USP. I mean, where were you going to get a homegrown Dexter burger, cooked on a barbecue in front of you, served in a dog-friendly Scandinavian teepee around an open fire? The final piece of our jigsaw, for now anyway, I hope, we've started our Finnebrogue Woods School of Bushcraft with the help of our very own Bear Grylls, aka Rob Hill. Rob's a fantastic character, speaks 7 languages, full of knowledge. He is superb, and he runs various experiences for individuals, for groups, company way days, bushcraft survival. He does leathercraft. He's an amazing forager. He's one of these guys that will pick something and go, or pick 2 things and go, this one will kill you, but you can eat this one. And he gets it right, so far. 2020 was shaping up to be a cracker of a year. Bookings were good. Fodder was busy. There was a real buzz around the place. And then the dreaded COVID hit. Now, please don't panic, I am not going to go on about COVID, other than to say it was horrendous for our weddings, but it launched fodder onto the next level. We were an outside venue, so people could come, get their coffee, walk through the woods, feel pretty safe. That slightly went bonkers that year. I spent most of my time directing traffic in a high-vis vest. Not ideal, but actually it was enlightening. I got to speak to so many of our customers and was always humbled by how far people had driven from. Bangor, Belfast, Moira, Portadown, Derry. But it was one day when I got chatting to a guy and he'd driven from Sligo. I went, Sligo? Yes, Sligo. I said, you've driven from Sligo to come and eat a Dexter burger? And he went, yep. And I thought, okay, we're doing something right here. Anyway, we got through all that and we consolidated for a couple of years, but never standing still. We made improvements to our infrastructure. We new gates, we put a bit of tarmac down, we expanded our car park, we improved our trails, we launched a wild cooking experience, and we opened our gift shop. Shap. If you know, you know. Anyway, we're now welcoming over 50,000 people a year into Finnebrogue Woods. They might enjoy a coffee, a walk in the woods. They might go foraging, dance the night away to a wedding or one of our boogie nights. They could even meet Santa Claus with one of their dogs. Our spooky Halloween trails, Lotus and Land Rover car launches, nature walks around the lake. I think we've ticked the diversification box. We don't always get it right, but thanks to an incredible, almost 50 now, strong team of very passionate, creative, hardworking individuals, we've managed to sustain, revive our little gem in County Down, and no one could ever accuse us of following the herd. But the herd is still central to what we do, and I just can't wait to see what my kids do. Thank you very much.